So we're going to start with an Ashtanga vinyasa. So this is going to be fun with my headphones. I will get some new ones, located the ones I want. So it's Ashtanga vinyasa, you're going to stand at the front of your mat. And then just to come into the room, I'd like you to close your eyes and shift the weight into the front left toes. So this is just to start feeling how the whole body moves, and then back the right heel. And you can feel it's a very subtle thing, but how you stand really affects all the body. And then front right toes. And then back left heel. And then look down, open the eyes, obviously, do that. Spread the toes as much as you can. Don't worry if there's not much movement. It will come. It really will come. And then we're going to stand into that traditional mountain pose. So, elbow under, belly in up. Arms of the hands facing forwards. And inhale. Everyone lift the hands up. Look to the hands. Exhale, folding forward. So I like you to do jumping because the tip is so precarious. But you can jump if you wish. Inhale, make it L shape with the body. And then bend the knees as much as you need. Step back. Make a note of which you put you step back with some of the bottom. And you're in front. And then lowering down. Come through into upward dog. Exhale back. Into downward dog. And it's 5 breaths here. And I would suggest for the first one, you walk the dog. Just to wake up the back to the legs. Slow, steady breath. If you're aware of what ujjayi breath is, you can activate that. And now, walk slowly forward. Hands to your feet to your hands. And then inhale up into the spine. Exhale, forward to the knees. And then inhaling, come forward to standing hands above the head towards the hands. And exhale, back down to Tadasana. Stay moving on the breath, go straight to the next one. So inhale, hands above the head. Exhale, hinge the hips, belly drawn in. Check the lower back. Look towards the toes. Inhale, the L shape of the body. Exhale, hands to the floor, step back with the other foot. Lowering down from the plank, the chaturanga through into upward dog. And then exhale back to downward dog. Slow, steady breath. Connecting to the breath. That lovely sense of starting session. The breath triggers the mind and body to know you're about to do something. Nurture yourself. Up, walking forwards. Hands, make the L shape, and then release. Look to the knees. Hands swoop up above the head. The thumbs. And exhale. Hands come back onto the sides. Good. Next one. Same again. Inhale, lift the hands. Exhale, folding forwards. Inhale, L shape of the body. Exhale. Step or jump back. You might have the energy to jump back, which most people do. Down to chaturanga. Keep your elbows in, close to the body as possible. Up into upward dog. And exhale back. Downward dog. Think about getting the heels in the direction. More like if you come onto your toes and then push back. You get a tilt of the pelvis, which can help. Heels in the direction of the floor. Now I'm going to ask you to raise your left foot to the side variation. Take the left foot up in the air and then bring it to the Achilles heel of the right foot. And just pull with your toes, and that will lengthen the ligaments, calf muscles, and the heel. You can stretch out really nicely. You can bring the leg back up. And force the left leg now to come towards your knee, towards your nose, knee to nose, and then take knee to left elbow, left knee to left elbow, and then back, and then knee in the direction of the right elbow. Okay? Pull the foot back up into the air, and then release it down. So the back and down the dog. Dog. And we're going to then walk our feet forward towards our hands. And we're going to down here. I would suggest placing the backs of the hands on the floor. We had our wrists stretched quite strongly. So I would suggest having your backs of the hands on the floor if that's available to you. Stretch into the floor. And here we're going to get into chair pose, so Utkatasana. So bend the knees, bring the hands up above the head. Stick your bum out as much as you can, draw the belly in. Lengthen the lower back. Here, weights in the heels. Standing. And we're going to repeat all that on the inside, the right side, left side. We bring down, hands go to the head. Right on to the side rotation. Exhale, forwards. And possibly come to the floor. Inhale, lengthen through the spine, make the shape. Exhale, step the jump back. If you're feeling tired, then drop your knees as you come from chaturanga through into upper dog. Downward dog. Come onto your toes. And push your bottom up to the ceiling and exhale. And then heels to the floor. Stretch from the back to the legs. And now take your right leg up in the air. Bring it down onto the heel of the left foot and pull and stretch out your Achilles heel to the bottom back of the foot. So it's very light pressure from the foot, and it will help stretch it. And then release that, raise the right foot up again, and that's knee to nose. And then knee to right elbow. Change the other side, we'll do all three. Back and then knee across the body to the left elbow. Back, up in the air, and down. So walking the dog, you might feel a difference now in the back of the legs. Slow, steady breath. And with the hand, feet really, think together. If it's up to you, you can take hands off feet if you prefer, but bring the hands and feet close to each other. And then exhale, fold forward, and then the hands rest back to the palms on the floor. If you need to bend the knees to do that, give you a very nice release in the lower back. If you've got any tightness in the hamstrings at the top, back of the leg, and same again, bend the knees. Let the torso rest on the floor. Shake the head, make sure there's no tension in the head. Utkatasana. So that's 3 Bring the hands up, right six into the heels. Bottom sit down. Knees are in line with your upper arms. Upper press here, belly drawn in. Standing. Okay.
Liz?
Do some balancing poses because it's getting quite cold, and I think we need to strengthen our ankles and work on our balance for when it gets icy and it gets a bit slippy.
Liz?
Oh, we've got a question.
Sorry. I can't hear you very well, but I don't know whether that's just me.
Okay. Can you hear me, Bibiana? Does this help at all? Not really. Maybe.
So I can hear you now really loud and clear, but I couldn't a moment ago.
Let's see what happens. Can you hear me now? Because it could be that the headphones are dying.
Yeah, you're getting very faint.
Okay. I think the headphones are dying. Thank you very much.
That's all right.
Dreaded pesky children. They've been using
Oh, have they?
Yeah, they have. Thank you. Thanks for flagging that up because I'm used to now talking with, yeah. Okay, I'll raise my voice. Okay, this is going to get interesting because I'm actually going to do a forward fold. So I'll demonstrate because otherwise I'll go muffled. So the first one I want to do is I want you to take your right foot behind your left, okay? And then you're going to fold forwards. You'll sort of hinge forwards from the sternum here. And then you're going to think you might come to the floor. You might need to get a chair near you. And you're going to then turn to your right. Okay? And you want to keep the feet solid on the floor. You don't want to go onto the sides of either feet. So that makes sense. We're going to go to both sides. So we're going to go to the right to begin with, and we're going to come back to the center, and then go to the left. And the feet are close together. So you might find that you can push this foot, this leg into the leg that's behind. Okay, and it gets into the IT band. It's a side stretch, but also gets into the IT band. Ready to try that? Good. So bringing our right leg in behind our left. We're going to take them quite close together. And then hinging at the hips, exhale forwards. Come to wherever you come to. If you can't get to the floor, hold your legs. Make use of any props you've got around you. If you're practicing at home, there's usually something you might get hold of. And then you're going to take your hand to the right, okay? And like I said, think about the feet. You want to make your weight even in the feet. You're not going off the side of one foot, or you're not putting your weight on one foot or the other. Take some breaths here. Right, strong stretch on the outside of the left leg. And then come back to center. Come over to the other side. Come back to center and then come up. Okay. Good stuff. Hear me all right now, Natalie? Yeah? Oh, yeah. Good. I'm assuming you can. It's too dark to see you. And now we're swapping sides. Okay? But speak up. If you can't hear me, then please unmute yourself and say it again. So now we've swapped sides. Same thing. Feet are very close together. So you've got front leg and pushing back leg. Yeah? And then lifting up, getting that length so you've got some space in the lower back. Exhale, folding forwards. Hands coming in the direction of the floor. Be prepared, in fact, it might be different on one side from the other. And then coming round to the side. Back to center. And then round to the other side. Okay. And then back to center. And come up. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to do one more standing one, and then I'm going to pull the computer closer to me so that you can hear me, because I'm aware that at this distance it's a hard sound and it'll be hard to hear me. So We'll do one more standing one, and then we'll come to do some floor work. So it's going to slightly change what I had planned, but that's fine. So this is good for strengthening the legs. This part of the leg, you don't really give a lot of attention to, and your ankles, okay? So what you're going to do is you're going to come onto your toes, also twist. So you're coming up onto your toes, and then you're bringing your hands up above the head. And then I want you to exhale and bring your right hand forward, left hand back, leave it on. Try and come really high, and then you can look back at the back arm. So you're really twisting up the body, and obviously this is facing forwards. So you get a really good twist. So I'm going to do that. So I will now look back and you won't be able to hear me. Okay, and then coming back, bring both hands up to centre again. And then exhale, go the other way. Do try and come up on your toes as much as possible. It's challenging. There's no denying it's challenging, but it's so good to strengthen your ankles and sort out your balance at the moment. I kind of want you to fall out of those like I am. Really go to your maximum, yeah? And so same again on the other side. Look behind you. I'm not going to because you won't be able to hear me. Okay? If you come down, just bring yourself back up. Do look back because that will give you a deeper twist, and then hands come up, and hands come down, and toes come down, feet come down. You may well want to stretch out the shins the other way, so there's two options. This one, this is good anyway because you don't tend to get into the tendons here at the front, so that will feel like could feel like quite a pleasant stretch. And then do the same with the other side. And then I want to now come down. I'm going to bring it closer. We're going to go onto our toes again. And but we're going to come down, okay? We're going to do some floor work. So we're going onto our toes, hands coming out in front of you, and keeping high, coming down. Now, it is hypocritical, do as I say, not as I'm doing. Think about keeping your back as straight as you can. Obviously, if this is too much on your knees, don't do it. Think about keeping your back as straight as you can. Now, you get to this comfy place, or just come out of it. Yeah? So don't go to the comfy place, come out of it, and then go down. Brilliant. Take the feet wide, so you're in a squat now. So take the feet wide. Bring the hands into prayer, so you're pushing into your thighs. And if you need to put anything underneath your heels, nothing to the floor, prop them, please prop them. I mean, that's it, you've got cushions, you've got stuff at home, so take advantage of that. And this is very good for decompressing the lower back. If you've got lower back issues, this is a really good one. Okay. So pushing into the thighs. I'm going to stay like this for a minute. And then I want to just playfully come into crow. Have a go at coming into crow. So the crow, you put your hands in front of you. The trick is to look forwards. Now, I don't know whether I'm going to be able to do it with this jumper, but I'll go. So the trick is to look forward. So the hands come firmly in front of you. And then you want to come up onto your toes. Bring your feet in together. You might just demonstrate. You're going to come up onto your toes. Your knees are going to go into the upper arm, like that, and you're looking forward. If you're not looking forward, you're going to face long. So it's quite good, actually. If you haven't got any blocks, grab a block or a book. This can really help. So do get one if you need one. And I'll do it sideways. So I've got a block. Toes touch, so not toes, heels touch. Onto my block. Hands are in front of me firmly. Knees are near my armpits. And then you come forward. Try one foot, look forward, really look forward. Try the other foot. And see how that feels. How are you doing? So you can just do one foot at a time. You don't have to do both feet. Look forwards, Bibiana, or you're going to go. Look forwards, look forwards, look forwards. Lovely. Brilliant. So being playful, it's nice to have challenges. Yeah, it's nice to have something to play with. But getting the height can really help. Yeah. And now come back into squat. I'm just going to do a little bit of an opening. So you're in squat. Take your hands to the floor. Push your hands into the floor. So it's not like crow because we're not on our toes. And this is just to get the working the thighs a bit wider. And then I'd like you to bring your right hand up. So you're getting a nice side twist in there, okay? And you're going to look at the hand. I'm facing forward so you can hear me. Push, so pushing left hand against left thigh and looking up at the right hand. Strong twist there in the body. Bring that down. Both hands pushing to the floor again. And then, surprise, surprise, we're going to do the same on the other side. The right hand stays firmly on the ground and pushing into the arm. Left comes up now. I want you to look back. Feel the breath in the body when you're doing this because you're in quite a constrained position. Enjoy that sensation and then release back. And then we're going to, so I'll demonstrate because you're not going to be able to hear me. And we're going to come up into a dangle. And then from a dangle, we're going to hook our index finger and our middle finger around our toes. And we're going to pull ourselves deeper into the pose. I'm going to have to show you, might be best to shoot this sideways. So we're coming up into a dangle. Okay. And then we're going to hook the feet. Lengthen through the spine, so you're really lengthening the spine, releasing the spine, and then exhale. Come forward. If you've got anything going on here, bend the knees. So that's anything with the hamstrings at the back, top of the leg. Bend the knees, let the body connect with the thighs, and then straighten up, okay? And it's 5 breaths, and I want you to shake your head and make sure that there's no tension in the head, or in the neck. And you're actively pulling with your hands, you're pulling up and your toes are resisting and pushing you deeper down. And this is opening up the whole of the back of the body. Slow, steady breath. When we're in class, I'll also put my hands on the back of people's ribs and ask them to breathe into my hand. It just creates a sense of space. So imagine that happening. Imagine somebody's got their hand on your back, at your ribs, and they're asking you to breathe into their hand. You know, straighten the back. Just look at me for a second. What I want you now to do is put your hands, if possible, right under the feet. Okay? So the thumb comes to the wrist. And same again, exhale, fold forward. Legs maybe straight. If there's tugging happening here, keep the knees bent. It's absolutely fine. You can get a nice stretch in your back. And it's the same thing, there's traction, you're getting taken deeper. With each exhale, the head should come a bit closer to the knee. And then release that, so bring the hands out from underneath the feet. Bring them onto your hips, and then I'm going to actually ask you to just come straight to sitting. We're not going to straighten up, we're just going to come to sitting, okay? So we're going to drop back down to sitting, and I'm going to suggest putting your hands behind, so check behind you if you've got space. We're going to put our hands behind our knees, and we're going to roll to stimulate the spine. And then we're going to just rest on our back and do a planning twist to counter stretch, okay? So those are going to wake up the spine, so do check the space behind you before you go. And then you're going to roll sort of through 4 to 5 times. Try to go as high onto your shoulders as you can. So you're really getting the whole of the spine going. Well, off we go. Head tucked in, inhale, back you go. And exhale. 1, 2, each time just try and go a bit further back. 3, 4, 5, and then we're going to come onto our back and do a plank twist. Lying on your back, knees coming to chest, so All we do trying to is just take hold of the knees and circle them in the hip socket, so it's all in the joint upwards. Think about pressing your lower back into the floor. So that'll mean that you restrict your range of movement, but it's going to give you a really nice stretch for the lower back. Okay. Think about doing that, and then try it where it comes off the floor and feel the difference, okay? The way the pelvis changes, the way the whole of the lower back stretches, the way the knees come closer to the chest. And then go back to keeping the lower back on the floor, really actively pushing the coccyx almost onto the floor. Right. Knees come together, and I want you to take knees to the side, hands are in a T shape. Knees come over to the side, you've got choices here. Try to keep the knees together. The higher up the knees are, the closer to the armpit. The higher up the stretch is going to be in the back rather than in the hips. If the hips are, knees are level with the hips, the stretch is going to be more in the hips. So you know what you need. And you're going to look over the opposite shoulder. Obviously, I'm not going to, because I won't teach you. But that's a full pose. So the knees have gone one way and the head and the neck. And if you want to intensify the sensation, you can take the bottom foot and wrap it on top of the top foot. Or you can do the same at the knee, actually. Whichever feels good for you. And again, if you're at home, if you want to pop a cushion between the knees and make it more luxurious, more supportive, more nourishing, I can only encourage that, really. This is a precious bit of time for you to enjoy some self-practice that's nourishing, not punishing or punitive. Yeah? We often bring our habit energies to the mat. So if we are quite competitive, then we can be quite competitive on the mat. If we're quite negative or critical, then we'll be quite critical on the mat. You can see the way we act out ways of being. The mat's nothing special, it's no different as a place in terms of our attitudes, but we can try and cultivate a kind of attitude to self when we're here, and hopefully take that off the mat and into the wider world. So now bring the knees back up to the centre, and on that point, whilst you go over to the other side, I'm going to roll up, and I've got a thing I'd like to read you that feels quite relevant as we're coming up to Christmas. So take your knees over to the opposite side. Keep the hands in a T shape. Try and keep the shoulder play. You can think about knees towards the floor or shoulder towards the floor. Possibly you manage both. If you don't, prioritise one over the other. Just think what you want to work on today. I'm going to read something to you. So like I say, I feel this is really relevant because Christmas just around the corner. So it's Ethan Nickton, and he said, it would be preposterous to argue that all these self-loathing thoughts that tell you that you are not good enough, those thoughts that constantly beat you up, are somehow independent of all the advertisements that you saw today, that sold you an aggressively idealised and airbrushed version of how to be you. So I'd like you to spend a moment thinking about that. What he's doing there is he's linking all those self-loathing thoughts that tell you you are not good enough, those thoughts that constantly beat you up, are somehow independent of all the advertisements that you saw today that sold you an aggressively idealised and airbrushed version of how to be you. So if you do find you've got a lot of critical voice going on at this time when you're doing something that's for you, then maybe that's something to contemplate. Yeah? Good well being. There could be a connection. So, now we're going to release that. And what I would like to do now is I would like to have your feet flat on the floor. And then I'm going to ask you to take your bottom off the floor and take your right foot up in the air. Push yourself a bit higher. And then bring the foot down towards the floor. We're doing a bit of abdominal work now. Back up into the air. Down towards the floor, do that 5 times. Back up into the air. Draw your belly in. That's 2, down towards the floor. Back up. Make sure you're pushing actively into your left foot. Down towards the floor. Up again. Floor. Up again. Keep it up for 2 breaths. Push. Get your shoulders contact the floor and then release. Bring that down. Keep the bottom in the air and do the other side. So lift it up into the air. If this is too strong on your lower back, then come out and just rest back down on the floor. And go to the final butterfly. So work the hips instead. So that's the second one. Keep pushing yourself and your bottom in the air. Down to the floor. With my foot. That's the third one. Fourth one. Fifth time. And then legs stays in the air. Push your hands into the floor. See if you can lift yourself up a little bit higher. Last 2 breaths. Right. And then come down. And just stay here for a second. And I'm going to say, take your feet up into the air. Take your feet wide. Okay. And then I want you to dive through your hands, dive through your legs. Your hands come into prayer. I'm going to exhale, lift up, belly's drawn in, and dive through your hands. Push into the heels. 5 breaths. And release. Bring the legs back together. So we're going to come onto our tummy now. Come over onto your front. And we're going to do a shoulder stretch. So I will do it so that I'm facing towards you. So I'm going to have both arms out like this at the moment. Keeping that arm stretched out behind me, I'm coming over onto my side. Okay? But it doesn't matter if your foot doesn't get to the floor. It's a strong stretch in the pecs in the front of this shoulder. Legs resting down. If you've got anything happening in the elbow, then come out. If it's too strong on the elbow, or just ease off, don't twist it strongly. That's probably the best thing to do. But if it still persists, then just relaxing here if possible. So the palm is in contact with the floor and back of the hand. And then come back and do the same thing on the other side. So hand comes out. To your belly. And what I want to do now is we're going to get some piriformis muscles. So you're staying on your front like this. And you're going to, so the first one actually is to inhale towards the front like this. And the second one is to take the legs, point them back, scissor them really as wide as you can. Point, 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 point. So this is getting into the top of the back of the leg here, the piriformis muscle. Scissor them back together, release. Rest down, bring your hands onto your, so your head, your forehead onto your hands, and wiggle from side to side to release the lower back. And then we're going to do that again 2 more times. Bring the hands in close to the upper ribs. They're not really weight bearing. Inhale, come up a little bit. Elbows in, so that's the first breath, and then on the next breath, take the legs out, point them. Scissor them back, release, head, forehead comes down to the hands, and a little rock from side to side. Okay, we'll do that one more time. Hands come to the sides. Inhale up, stabilize the pelvis, and then take the legs out. Point, 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 point. Scissor back together, and release. Okay, and then come back into child's pose. So just push back into child's pose. Where you've got the knees wide and the toes touching. Okay. And here, we're coming up to the floors. We're going to push back into downward dog. And then you're going to raise your right leg up and bring it through into a lunge. Drop the knee to the floor. Come up. Bring the hand into arrow mudra. And then inhale. Take the hands up and over the head. Belly's broad in, arching back. If you find yourself wobbling, just move the foot over to the side of the mat a bit more, give yourself a bit more space in the hips. And then from here, I want to do a twist. So you're going to bring your arm across the body. Okay. This hand is I'll demonstrate putting forward. Arms coming across the body. The other hand is coming on top, and you push actively with the top hand and turn. If you wobble like I have, just take your foot slightly more to the side, and actively push and look up towards the ceiling. Should be like a corkscrew effect on the body. You just feel this turning happening. And then bring the hands back in front of you. And we're going to take it back to the side. And come onto the side of the foot. Just working here deeply into the hip flexor. And then we'll push back into downward dog and repeat all of that on the other side. So activate the back foot. Push back and into downward dog. Bring the left foot up. Bring the left foot forwards. That knee comes to the floor. If you need to put a cushion under the knee, if it doesn't feel comfy, please do support your knee because they are very delicate. Take the time to make these adjustments. And then we've got our arrow mudra with the hands. So that's index fingers together, hands are clasped. Inhale, bring the hands up above the head, arching back. Strong stretch, so you're going to get a stretch here in the quadricep. Back, glutes are engaged. Belly's drawn in. See what you can feel what that does to the pelvic girdle. Slow, steady ujjayi breaths. And then release. Bring the hand over the knee. Other hand comes on top. Push. Actively with the top hand. Twisting, so you get this corkscrew effect with the spine. Turn and look up at the ceiling. And then hands come in front, take the foot out to the side a bit more, and go on to the external to the foot. So we're working there, targeting the hip flexors. Unicorn, really. So we're coming to the end of the lesson now, so I'm going to ask you to come back onto the floor. So come onto your back, and it's the shoulder stand. So we start a little bit late. I hope it's okay to run over by 5 minutes. So go into a shoulder stand. Obviously, I can't talk and do that, so I will sit and talk you through. It's probably the best thing to do. So come to lying on your back. It's an inversion. If you know that you're tired and you would rather just lie with your feet in the air like this, absolutely fine. That's an inversion. It's a nice stretch. You can even prop under. If I do that, I'll be able to talk to you, I think, at the same time. You can prop underneath and keep your feet up. If you're going into the shoulder stand, then what you'll do now is you will roll up. So, I go over to the floor just to get my shoulders into the right position. I was taught, but you don't have to. You're coming up into the air, hands are on your back, supporting your back, and feet are pointing towards the ceiling. And you're going to do 10 to 15 breaths there. See if you can bring the hands slightly further down the back, and that'll just give you a bit more of a lift. No looking left or right when you're in this inversion. And now let the feet slowly come over, head towards the floor. They don't get to the floor, keep supporting the back, okay? Keep the back, hold it with your hands. If they do get to the floor comfortably, and you've got good contact with the floor, you can interlace the fingers and have them on the floor, yeah? Don't do that if the feet will not come to the floor. And then you're stretching out and actively the whole of the back of the body. 5 breaths here. And now let the knees drop towards your ears. So they're either side of the ears, and you can wrap your hands around the back of the knees. So here we go. Looking good. Sometimes this is easier than others. Okay. And then this is the challenging abdominal bit. I want you now to let your hands come to the floor. That's it. And bring yourself over and try to resist sort of pinging towards the floor. That makes sense. Yeah? So coming down with control, and then you're in Shavasana. I mean, it will, with as much control as is practical. It's going to speed up at some stage, but just using your core. Brilliant. Well done. Great, Viviana. And then the counter stretch. Yeah, counter stretch. Go into fish. So hands come under the bottom. And then you use your elbows to push up, arch up. Your elbows, in effect, become your feet in terms of support. Head arches back, and there's a lovely rush of blood to the thyroid here in the neck, and a brilliant balancing of your hormonal endocrine system. And then if you want to, you can wiggle the fingers out and you can bring them in front of the body and do flying fish, your shout, you know what sort of day you've had. But, and then let that go and come into contact with the floor. So there's two options. You can either have backs of the hands on the floor, palms facing up, which gives you a lovely opening across the chest, or you can bring your hands onto your abdomen. Feel free to grab a blanket if you want to, if that makes it more comfortable for you. Maybe have something under the back of the head, just to give you a nice, so you're not jarring the neck. You don't want the neck to be jarred, you want it to be chin tucked in, and a nice release into the neck. Yeah? So do whatever you want to do to make yourself comfy, and you can just stay in Shavasana. You don't have to get up at the end and say goodbye. You're at home. You're in your own special sanctuary, and you can take advantage of the fact that you're not in a yoga studio. Nobody's going to try and start walking around you, picking up mats or putting them down. You can stay there and reap the benefits of the session and stay in that sense of well-being for as long, a bit longer, which is a lovely place to be. It's very recuperative, it's very therapeutic, it's very restorative, it's very nourishing, and the muscles are having a chance to realign the kinks, the stresses, the strains, the tensions that have been put in during the course of the day. The compression, the tightness has been released, the blood flow has been increased. And so if you can stay there, this is the most beneficial pose of all, Shavasana, and the most challenging. So bringing our attention to the points of contact with the floor, so feeling the back of the head in contact with the floor, feeling the shoulders in contact with the floor, backs of the arms possibly the hands, and then the curvature of the spine, coming to the hips, feeling the hips in contact with the floor, backs of the legs, so backs of the thighs, backs of the calves and the heels. Encourage the feet to just flop out at 45 degrees a little bit more. And that's an opening and a relaxing of the hips. Okay. And then I want you to take a big in-breath through the nose. And then exhale through the mouth. And feel a wave that ripples through the spine and the way the spine comes to settling on the floor. Feel the support of the floor, the strong, steady support of the floor. Do that once more. Inhale through the nose and exhale through the mouth, and just let out anything that's not serving you, any thoughts, feelings, emotions that are not serving you. Just let them go. Last time, feel the expansiveness of the inhale, and then the settling that comes with the exhale. Feel all those points of contact sinking into the floor, and feel the spaces as well. So there's the space in the curvature of the neck, there's the space in the curvature of the back, the space behind the knees. There's all those spaces and then all those points of contact. And bring your attention to your breath. Feel it in the body. If you've got your hands on the abdomen, that's quite easy. You can feel it in the rise and fall. If not, possibly that ripple through the spine, a very subtle ripple, like a wave. Regular, rhythmical, always there. The breath, the place where the external world and the inner you connect. Possibly you can hear your own breath. I'm going to read you a poem. Wild Geese, it's called. You do not have to be good. You do not have to walk on your knees for 100 miles through the desert, repenting. You only have to let the soft animal of your body love what it loves. Tell me about your despair, yours, and I will tell you mine. Meanwhile, the world goes on. Meanwhile, the sun and the clear pebbles of the rain are moving across the landscapes, over the prairies and the deep trees, the mountains and the rivers. Meanwhile, the wild geese, high in the clean blue air, are heading home again. Whoever you are, no matter how lonely, The world offers itself to your imagination, calls you like the wild geese, harsh and exciting, over and over, announcing your place in the family of things. You only have to let the soft animal of your body love what it loves. I'm going to repeat the first stanza. You do not have to be good. You do not have to walk on your knees for 100 miles through the desert, repenting. You only have to let the soft animal of your body love what it loves. With the inhale, if you could think, may I be peaceful and at ease. And with the exhale, may I be well. May I be peaceful and at ease. May I be well. Peaceful and at ease. Well. And then take that thought and summon to mind someone who you care about dearly. They don't have to be in the world. They could be. They don't have to be. It doesn't have to be a person. It can be another animal. And say the same thing. May you be peaceful and at ease. May you be well. It could be somebody you've never met, something you've never met. It's just something you feel connected to. Maybe more than one thing, in which case move on to the next one. May you be peaceful and at ease. May you be well. So I'm going to finish with one more quote, which is from Henry James. 3 things in human life are important. The first is to be kind. The second is to be kind. And the third is to be kind. So kind to self is a very, very good starting point. And with that in mind, I'd like you to slowly bring a bit of movement back into your body. Really going slowly, really kind towards yourself, just transitioning gently. Possibly bringing the hands up and over the head and stretching out from the tips of the toes to fingertips. Or maybe you want to close in on yourself and bring your knees in towards your chest and give yourself a hug. Whichever, or possibly both, whichever feels good, whatever feels good, whatever bit of movement your body needs. Respond to that rather than to my voice. And very slowly, taking as much time as you need, bring yourself back up to sitting. And thank you very much for practicing with me. I'm going to unmute you.